Dubai is the city of the world's tallest skyscrapers and palm-shaped islands inhabited by the richest people on the planet. It's a place of obscene luxury, cutting-edge technology, avant-garde futurism, and incredible mega-projects such as artificial ski slopes in the middle of the desert. In Dubai, if you commit a crime, the police will chase you down with Ferraris, Lamborghinis, or Bugattis. And what color is your Bugatti? And if you're feeling the heat, don't worry, the Emirate of Dubai is going to build the world's first air-conditioned city.
The first temperature-controlled city will be in Dubai, with designs in architecture and technology that look like something out of a science fiction movie.
Visualeconomik viewers, we all agree that Dubai is one of the richest and most advanced territories in the world. However, it was not always so. Just 40 years ago in the 1980s, this emirate was practically an unwelcoming wasteland, an undeveloped, inhospitable, desolate place, typically buried by desert sand. However, look at how it suddenly changed in just a few decades. Dubai went from being nothing but desert to becoming one of the busiest, most prosperous, most spectacular, and wealthiest cities on the planet. Its urban growth has been so dramatic that even artificial islands have been built in the middle of the sea in order to increase its economic and residential potential. We're talking about miles and miles of new coastline and private beaches. The question is, how on earth did Dubai become so rich? What happened so that in just a few years, this inhospitable desert could give rise to one of the most luxurious, largest, and most advanced cities in the world? Right now, I'm pretty sure, certain in fact, that many of you think that the answer lies in oil. Dubai is an Arab emirate. We all know that Arabs are flush with oil money. Well, guess what? Wrong. In Dubai, there's actually almost no oil. Dubai is one of the few regions in the Persian Gulf where oil is considerably scarce. To give you an idea, only $1 out of every $100 generated by the Dubai economy comes from the oil industry. What's more, countries not exactly known for petrodollars, such as Canada, Albania, and Colombia, earn a higher percentage of money from black gold than Dubai does. But wait a minute then, if this is true, how on earth did Dubai manage to become so damn rich? Where did this emirate's wealth come from? What was its growth strategy? Well, today on Visualeconomik, we will answer all these questions. Pay very, very close attention. This may come as a surprise to many, but before it was the city of super yachts, skyscrapers, and Lamborghinis, Dubai was a small fishing village. We're not only talking about traditional fishing, but also about fishing for a very specific type of product, pearls. You see, back in the 19th century, the population of Dubai was made up of local tribes, without much connection to the outside world or the great technological changes. In fact, as is also very typical of such tribes, they had major disputes with other regions in the area. More specifically, the population of Dubai was constantly threatened by its neighboring region, Abu Dhabi. And yes, I know, although today Abu Dhabi and Dubai are part of the same country, the United Arab Emirates, back then they were fighting like cats and dogs. In part, however, this was a great historical advantage for Dubai. Let me explain. The conflicts in the region made the Arab territories particularly unstable and dangerous. And we are not only talking about wars, but also about a slave trade, and above all, piracy. The point is that piracy and the lack of security was a huge problem for the United Kingdom. Keep in mind that at that time, the British dominated territories such as India, Hong Kong, and later Egypt. That means they needed to pass through the Arab territories with their ships very often. And of course, if there was piracy, that was a huge problem. That is why territories such as Dubai signed political treaties with the British Empire. The British guaranteed the protection of each territory, mediated peace agreements between the conflicting regions, and in return, asked to use the Arab ports as their commercial and supply enclaves for their fleet. And it was right here when Dubai's economy began to flourish. Apart from the pearl business, the Dubaitis started to earn a lot of money thanks to British influence and trade. In addition, the port of Dubai offered traders a place to do business, or simply to reload their ships, with virtually no taxes or regulations to hinder international trade. You could say that Dubai, little by little, became a kind of perfect commercial stopover between Europe and Asia, having a particularly great influence on the commercial routes that connected India with Persia. This commercial golden era lasted more or less until 1930. But, Visualeconomik viewers, I am afraid that from then on, Dubai's economy would suffer one of the hardest blows in its history. We're Between the 1930s and the 1960s, three things happened that put this emirate on the ropes. The first was a sharp drop in global trade. You see, both the Great Depression of the 1930s and the Second World War brought down economic activity around the world, and with it, much of the commercial business of the port of Dubai. The second thing that sank Dubai was the proliferation of artificial pearls. It turns out that Mikimoto Kokichi, the Japanese guy you now see on screen, discovered a new way to grow pearls artificially and much cheaper, which caused the natural pearl business in Dubai to lose a lot of value. But beyond that, the third and final factor that crushed the Dubai economy was the discovery of oil. And no, I'm not talking about the oil in Dubai. I'm actually talking about Abu Dhabi, its great historical rival, finding lots and lots of oil. To which you may ask, why was oil in Abu Dhabi a problem for Dubai? Well, because Dubai started to lose its population and investments stopped coming in. There was a new star in the region. So you could say that Dubai was forced to become the shadow of Abu Dhabi, a poor, helpless, oil-deprived emirate, next to the mega mogul of what in the future would be known as the petrodollars. However, there came a point where, for one reason or another, suddenly everything turned around. Dubai started to grow and become richer and richer. It's clear that something had to happen for that small, desolate city with its economic sector shut down to rise from the ashes and become the mega city it is today. The question is, what exactly happened? Well, let's take a look.
Growing in the shadow of the giant.
Take a look at this image. The person you're looking at is Rashid bin Saeed Al Maktoum. Rashid was the father of the current emir of Dubai. And as you can imagine, while he was alive, he was the emir and also the political leader of the Dubai government. He was, in addition to being emir, prime minister. The point is that back in the 1960s, Rashid realized that Dubai needed to change radically to begin to prosper. Dubai had no oil, so it needed to grow its economy in another way. As we've already seen, the pearl market was no longer an option, but the international trade market, that was something else. At that time, the Arab lands, areas such as Egypt, Jordan, and Iraq, were constantly immersed in conflicts of all kinds. Let's just say that the Middle East was not a particularly safe place. So, as had been the case several decades previously, Dubai could replicate the strategy of offering traders safe harbors, with legal protection and no customs duties or taxes. But before doing that, Dubai had to adapt to modern times. It had to build proper infrastructure. We're talking about dams, cranes, wide roads for trucks to travel on, an airport for foreign professionals to arrive, and so on. So, no sooner said than done, Dubai started borrowing money, and in 1960, it built its first airport. Along with this new venture, a number of hotels, maritime trade services, and financial establishments began to spring up. But things got much better just a few years later, with two very important events. The first is that in 1971, the United Arab Emirates was created. Dubai went from being separate from the larger Abu Dhabi to joining forces with it, both financially and commercially. But the second event was that in 1966, some oil was found in this small emirate. It was a scarce deposit, and it was not enough to build an economy around, but it did serve to generate some dollars and give some life to the projects that had been tasked to transform this land. One of the main mega projects developed by Dubai was the construction of the Jebel Ali port, or rather, superport. Going back to the old map of the city, it is this kind of artificial water entrance that you can see in the image. This port was a real revolution for the city. From then on, large commercial ships sailing between Asia and Europe could use Dubai as a major hub. No tariffs or trade barriers. In addition, this port could be used to transport goods and products between the richer countries of the Middle East and the rest of the world. Let's just say that Dubai became the nerve center of trade in the Arabian Sea. To give you an idea, this is something that reached such an extent that today, practically 10% of all world trade passes through this place. Dubai has become the world's leading re-exporting power, and its port is the 9th busiest in the world. In any case, how would you feel if I told you that this is far from being Dubai's main business? What if I told you that Dubai is rich because of a factor that I'm sure many of you can't even imagine? Do you want to know what we're talking about? Stay tuned.
Dollar candy.
To understand the big business in Dubai, first, I must ask you a question. Can you tell me the name of a company founded in this emirate? One name will surely come to mind for many of you. Emirates Airlines. This airline has the largest aircraft in the world, the most luxurious first class, and a lot of international routes between Europe, Asia, and Africa. Well, this company was founded by the Dubai government back in 1985, just when the emirate was in the midst of an economic transformation process. Now, there is something that seems a bit odd about all of this. I mean, why did the Dubai government want to set up a public airline in the 1980s? Didn't it have better things to invest its money in? What advantage could this gamble have had? The answer is that Emirates was not just an airline company designed to make money with flights. It was an investment in pure marketing. On one hand, it carried the name of the emirate all across the world. And on the other hand, it made this inhospitable place in the middle of the Middle East one of the best connected enclaves in the world. In fact, the Dubai sheikhs have proven to be real experts when it comes to boosting the city's commercial and marketing strategy. Do you want some more examples? Well, just look at the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world. It's a true symbol of grandeur. Oversized and certainly impressive. Whoever wants to see it has to go to Dubai. But if that's not your cup of tea, look at the Palm Islands. Can a city get any flashier and shinier than building entire palm-shaped islands in the middle of the sea? Hardly. These islands are home to such well-known personalities as Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie, and David Beckham. So what can I say? Dubai is brimming, glittering, and almost over the top with so much branding vanity. But there is a good explanation for all of this. With all these mega projects, what Dubai is looking for is to attract millions and millions of tourists with money. Their glittering marketing is the way that they prey on wealthy people from all over the planet. It's like bait on a fishing line, and this has two great advantages. The first is the most obvious. Lots of tourists, and very wealthy ones at that, and that means a lot of money for the city. To give you an idea, more than $20 out of every $100 generated in Dubai comes from tourism. For example, despite Dubai being a sparsely populated emirate with just 3 million inhabitants, in 2022 it had more than twice as many international tourists as all of India combined. That is just insane. However, the second advantage is perhaps the most important. Making Dubai a place of complete luxury makes rich people, business people, and investors from all over the world want to move and stay and live in the city. For years, Dubai has been a place that has tirelessly sought the arrival of professionals from more developed countries. Without going any further, today, more than 95% of Dubai's population are immigrants. And let me ask you, what happens when you have the richest people in the world living in your city or visiting it frequently? It turns out that you can provide numerous incentives for them to set up new companies, carry out projects, and in short, make the economy of your region take off. And right there, that's where the last phase of Dubai's master plan comes in, the free zones.
Investment, investment, and more investment.
However, Dubai needs something more. Ostentatiousness and high-end luxury was just not going to be enough. Above all, the emirate needed two things. The first was to convince investors from all over the world that this was a fantastic place to put their money. Secondly, to have these investors create businesses in a multitude of different sectors. Let's just say it was not about building a theme park, but above all, a diversified economy, industries, offices, and all kinds of services, finance, technology, communications, etc., etc., etc. Well, in order to achieve this, they carried out the plan of free zones. Dubai's free zones are basically small, specialized spaces within the city itself. Each space, each free zone, is designed to develop specific types of businesses. For example, do you want to start a newspaper? Then you have to set up your business in the media city. So you want to launch a technology startup? Well, in that case, your place is in the Silicon Oasis free zone. Not excited by any of this and you're more into clothing, accessories, or jewelry companies? No problem. Dubai also has a specific area for businesses dedicated to fashion. Well, we could go on like this until we have a list of about 33 zones in the city. And the question many of you may be wondering is, what are the advantages of these free zones? Why are they so attractive to entrepreneurs and investors? The answer is that, in general, these free zones share very interesting characteristics for investors. You see, taxes are either very low or non-existent, at least for international activities. The attraction of foreign professionals is practically free, and there are no major trade barriers, such as tariffs or customs regulations, that are difficult to comply with. Foreign investors in these free zones do not need to have residency permits. They do not need to collaborate with local investors. They can send the money earned to their home countries without difficulty. And in fact, in some free zones, such as Media City, they do not even need to have a physical office in Dubai to start operating there. Can we here at Visualeconomik move to Dubai, please? Is that a thing? Can we do that? Let's do that. And if that were not enough, the laws that apply in areas such as the financial city are not the typical Sharia-based laws. No, they are British-like laws. Laws enforced by hired British judges. Naturally, they are also written in English. In that sense, Dubai is also the most culturally and legally open place in all of Arabia. Not just because the majority of its population is foreign and from many different cultures, a fact that, not surprisingly, is a huge advantage in this part of the world. Be that as it may, don't think that the only benefits of free zones in Dubai are low taxes and flexible regulations. Far from it, actually. Another great advantage of these spaces is that they are designed specifically for the type of business that exists in them. For example, there is a free zone in the port of Jebel Ali. As this zone is specifically designed for businesses that handle large cargoes, the commercial premises and warehouses are built with a minimum adapted size of 500 square meters. In the same way, in these types of areas, there are companies and suppliers dedicated exclusively to making life easier for the companies that set up in these places. In all of this, a huge ecosystem is created that allows companies to be much more productive than they would be if they were isolated in any other location. So you see, thanks to the creation of these free zones at the end of the 1980s, investment volumes and the Dubai economy completely skyrocketed. Dubai started to grow at a rate of 10% per year, which is more than double the growth of places like Hong Kong and Singapore, and up to 4 times that of the USA. As you can see, the secret of Dubai's success was in the use of infrastructure, luxury marketing, a tremendous commercial gamble, and above all, excellent bait for international investment, which are the free zones. And so, having come this far, it's now your turn. What did you think of Dubai's growth model? Did you expect tourism to be such an important part of its economy? And do you think that other places like Qatar, with its recent hosting of the Soccer World Cup, are trying to replicate its formula for success? Well, you can leave your answers in the comments. And if you like the video, please go ahead and like it, subscribe, hit the little bell so you don't miss any of the upcoming ones, and I will be seeing you in the next one. Thank you very much.